And we're back again. Appreciate you tuning in. I'm Bill Zimmerman. This is...
I'm Gerald Phillips, and we're concerned citizens of Avon Lake.
And our topic for this round is the recent interim development agreement that was recently signed by the mayor and put into effect with the people from ALERG through Todd Davis, who he helped draft this product so that everybody would be on the same page going forward.
Yeah, the interim development agreement was before council. They had 3 readings for the ordinance. During the 3 readings, there were public comment, although the public comment that Bill and I were able to do was just limited to 3 minutes on a topic and then 5 minutes at the end. But there were presentations presented on behalf of ALERG that probably was an hour, hour and a half on a number of occasions. So hopefully we'll fill in the gaps that we weren't able to present in our limited time before City Council, so we can educate you, give you more background information from the perspective of residents and how this agreement will affect the future development of the Avon Lake power plant.
We believe that this agreement, which I had meetings with Mr. Ebert and others, Todd Davis, and he kept saying that it was a non-binding letter of intent. And I kept asking more and more questions. And at one point, I finally was able to ask Mr. Ebert, is this a binding agreement? To which he answered, yes. So from my standpoint, everything that Mr. Davis was trying to sell us was smoke and mirrors. And he was trying to cover everything with all of these big presentations. We sat there, it was a dog and pony show for hours. And we thought, why would somebody be going to this extreme level? Even though they think they're trying to educate us, that it was a distraction. Because, as I indicated, the law director said it was a binding agreement. Go ahead, Gerald.
Yeah, the interim development agreement is a document. It's about 30-some pages. It has exhibits, and one of the exhibits is a document called the Letter of Intent. And the Letter of Intent is a document that will be entered into between the City of Avon Lake and ALERG for the purchase of the 23.22 acres of land, which is north of Lake Road, designated to be the park area. And this park area land was a very important, critical piece of the development agreement in the sense that it was the enticement to the city that this particular piece of land will be acquired through the use of the TIF proceeds, so that the city will not have to use any of the city's general funds. And the agreement calls for the purchase price of the property in the letter of intent of $15 million. Also provides for potentially another $15 million for improvements to that parkland for a total of $30 million out of the potential TIF proceeds of a minimum of 60. So that was a critical point that the council people emphasized when they were approving this document, that, well, this is great for the city. We get the parkland and the improvements at no cost to the city, comes out of the proceeds. The city doesn't have to expend any money. So that was a critical part. And this letter of intent, which was indicated to be, well, just that, a letter of intent, non-binding, but letters of intent are binding. They generally provide that the parties who enter into this letter of intent have contractual obligations to act in good faith to consummate a deal, and depending upon the terms of the letter of intent, it is a contract. There's, besides good faith obligations, there's fair dealings, that you can't unreasonably not negotiate and enter into it. So there are contractual obligations on the letter of intent. And there's cases that says even though in a letter of intent, like in this one, where it says that this agreement is not binding, it's until both parties execute a purchase agreement. I mean, there's cases that have that type of language in the agreement, and the court held that it's a contract and it's binding. So the city, when they enter into this agreement, really did enter into a binding contract.
One of the things that I found interesting that you just talked about was the sales price of $15 million, and then $15 million more through the TIF money to be used to make improvements on that, putting in sewers, and I'm sure there'll be some dredging and there'll be work along the shoreline and all those things. Yet the value of the property of that land on an appraisal that has been performed was $2.37 million. And I find those numbers to be drastically different. Therefore, it's not comparing apples and apples. It's apples and grapefruits, as far as I'm concerned.